I'm here with Rosmus, CEO of Goliath. We're looking at ticker symbol GOTRF. How are you doing?
Pretty fantastic. And how are you today?
I'm doing really great.
Sure.
I'm very curious to learn about your company. Can you first just give us an overview of Goliath and what you do?
Definitely. Well, we're an early stage gold exploration company. We're Canadian based. Our new discoveries in the Golden Triangle of British Columbia. So that would be sort of where the Panhandle is, where Alaska comes down. We're kind of, if you go east, we're kind of around that zone there. And the story is actually pretty simple. In 2017, when I created the company, the vision I had was to possibly find the next high-grade gold deposit, tier one asset that any senior miner would love to get their hands on, because they're all looking for tier one assets to basically fill the gap of all the gold they're currently taking out of the ground for future production down the road. So in a very short period of time, we actually have found a very high-grade gold system in the area. In a few short years, we've drilled just under 100,000 meters, where we're getting a 100% hit rate. We haven't missed on any holes. Last year, we had about 92% of the holes had visible gold in it, which is pretty interesting.
How do you get to that? Like, what's kind of the technology behind it?
You just drill.
You just drill.
Just go online, Google, drilling for gold, right? And what's really cool about it, it had never been sampled before or drilled before until we came along. The reason it was previously covered by glaciers and permanent snowpack until recent time. So only probably in the last 5 years, this would have been able to be discovered. If there wasn't snowpack there, I'm sure this would be a mine one day, or a mine previously and maybe still in operation. In the future, I do believe this will be a tier one asset and a mine sometime down the road here.
Yeah, I mean, I would guess that there would be competitors. Are you like kind of competing for these different mines?
No, well, I mean, we've got claims on the property, so we own those as long as we do work on it. So every year we're spending quite a bit of money. I've raised close to $70 million Canadian in the last 3 years in very crappy markets, which tells me that clearly we have a world-class discovery in our hands. Haven't blown up the capital structure. I've been able to attract some pretty significant shareholders like Crescat Capital, a fund based out of Denver, Colorado. I've got McEwen Mining that trades on the New York Stock Exchange, MUX, as well as on the TSX. I've got Rob McEwen personally. I've got Eric Sprott. I've got a group out of Singapore, a global commodity group, as well as Larry Childress. So, I mean, these are all titans of the industry that you want to have on your name register. So that's a very nice feather to have in our cap.
Yeah, it seems like things are going really great. 175 million US market cap.
Yeah.
When you kind of look to the future, where do you see the growth trajectory in the next few years?
Well, we're project generators. So right now, our intention is not to take it to production because we don't have that expertise. Could we attract that expertise to take it to that level? Of course, just certainly with our shareholder base and so on, and some of our directors. But the idea would be to continue to drill out the system and then ultimately sell it to the highest bidder. As an example, the company called Goliath Resources, but sort of 4 or 5 years ago, gold was at $1,700 an ounce US. They didn't have a resource, but on the back of the envelope, it suggests maybe they have 4 to 5 million ounces. I think that was the number, with upside to potentially 7.5 million ounces. They were bought for 1.8 billion Canadian, right? So in Canadian terms, we're trading around 200 million. So if we can pull off the similar type of transaction, gold's probably going to 3,500. I think Goldman Sachs projecting 3,500 to 4,500 gold this year, 2025. We could potentially have a 10x or 20x on our hands here. Again, assuming the drilling is successful, we get everything into a maiden resource and so on, and have all the assays to prove that out, which I'm pretty confident that we'll be able to do that.
Yeah, what is the plan to make sure everything is successful to extract the golds?
Well, not us, but for the big miners, yes, of course. For us, the system does remain wide open. So just the boundaries that we currently have, we know the system continues on. We just haven't drilled there yet. So part of the drilling for this year, though, is we need to do some infill drilling, sort of 100-meter spacings. Again, it's all about increasing the confidence level that, let's say, this plane of mineralization over 1.8 square kilometers at, call it 6 meters, is consistent from one area to the other side of the mountain where we're drilling. So, I mean, we can visually see it, and but ultimately we have to put the drill holes in there just to confirm. It's like doing an audit. saying, okay, it looks to be going right through, but we need those holes in there with assays showing that it is 100%.
Great.
Case.
Anything else that you think is really important for people to know?
I think, gold's a great place to be. I mean, if you want exposure to it, as opposed to, buying the physical, junior resource companies, exploration, we've taken a lot of the risk on the equation. So we're in I call it the expansion phase, low risk expansion phase, where we know we've got this massive system. We still haven't found the end of it. It does remain open. We might find the actual heat engine that brought all this mineralization to surface, which again be quite a big catalyst for the shareholders or the market cap. And I think it's based just on their shareholder that we talked about earlier. Is they've already done the due diligence. They don't like to lose money. So in that regard, you could put some confidence into their work that they've done and why they put money into our company.
So where do you think the company could go? Where do you kind of project it going?
Well, if one was taking an example of Great Bear Resources, again, they had a back of the envelope of sort of 4 to 5 million ounces with upside to potentially 7.5 million ounces. They were taking out when gold was $1,700 an ounce. Currently, we're at 32 or approaching 3,200, maybe going to 4,500 this year, according to Goldman Sachs. We're currently at a 200 million Canadian. So if you just kind of do the number on that, there's a pretty mega upswing potentially if we can pull off a similar type of transaction, which is what we're hoping for.
Yeah. And then can you fill us in on some of the drill results that you've gotten?
Sure. Good question. Actually, great question. Some of the holes we've been, we drilled in 2024 were some of our best. One in particular was, we had over 1 ounce of gold over 39 meters true width. And then within that, we had over 4 ounces of gold equivalent over 10 meters, which is pretty significant. And that's a lot of gold. Right. And this comes from an area where we have a number of holes that are 5 to 9 meters true width. And we're from 10 grams, half an ounce, over an ounce type material. So it's an area that we're really keen and focused on for 2025 drilling. And that will be, I think, an area that we could hopefully by the end of this year, 2025, is to demonstrate, we may have this high grade zone of maybe 1 million to 2 million ounces of, half an ounce would be a fantastic result for us.
And what is the feeling when you get word that it's a really successful drill?
Well, last year, again, we had 92% of the holes had visible gold. So that's obviously a great sign that you're clearly going to have decent results coming back from the assays. So it's quite exciting for sure.
Yeah.